he wouldn't reply to phone calls, emails. Like if he just didn't feel it was worth his time, he just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I'm the same way. I gotta, it's a part of our job. We have to know, we have to research, we have to read and write and listen and evaluate and contemplate and just like we have to do all this stuff before we make decisions sometimes. So it's not necessarily always the best, most ideal, as far as time management goes, because sometimes our time is not necessarily it's ultimately hijacked because
yeah,
of an incident or because of a meeting impromptu, like something crisis pops up and boom, our attention has to focus on that. Like, so we may not have complete, or not may not, we do not have full 100% autonomy over our time as
right.
an emergency manager, because you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, you can plan and process and get systems in place as best as possible, but there's going to be those times where you're like, hey, you need to be in this meeting because something's happening, or
Oh
something just
yeah, I
happened and
mean,
we need
like
to start something. So
the other day I was
it
at this
is.
training, Dan. I was at this training in Norwalk, and I get the alert on my phone saying that there's this call, which in and of itself was I get a lot of alerts on my phone, by the way, for the calls because I'm on this program that shows everything that's happening in my city, and it was they said, oh, they're evacuating a building, and I was like, oh, that's mildly interesting, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, and I'm thinking, okay, if it's anything major, I'll get a phone call from the battalion chief. All right. I didn't get anything. So about 10 o'clock, um, one of my classmates, Crystal, um, she goes, "Hey, do you see this on the news?" And I'm like, "Oh man, this is bigger than just a small building evacuation."